Hey everyone, how are you? It is Arden, the crotchety old man. It is freaking cold outside. um, still is. I'm. It is Groundhogs Day. Dun, 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 dun. I know last year I actually was talking about how when I was living in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, working for a company uh, called Flag House, we actually had a groundhog that was outside, or some kind of varmint, and we actually named him Hasbrook Hal. And for our company newsletter, Hasbrook Al actually did predict the weather. So I wonder if Hasbrook Al was predicting more snow, winter. I think this weekend we're supposed to have something. I know the people down in North and South Carolina, where my aunt lives, got belted with it, and they're not used to it. And obviously, the people in Virginia are most certainly not used to this. My goodness, I mean, it was okay. It's not that bad, but man, did a half-ass job shoveling, plowing. We still only have one lane where my house is, so you can't have two cars going. If one car is coming, the other car has to back all the way back out to let him out. It's just awful. Anyway, so the music, if you know the music that I was just playing, you're probably either a massive geek like myself, or you're from New Jersey. That was actually the original theme song of the Uncle Floyd show. Now, Uncle Floyd was a North Jersey icon, and some South Jersey as well. He had a television show. He actually passed on the 22nd of January, and I apologize. I actually, it was going to be in last week's show, but I put it on the second page and I didn't see my notes, and I apologize. So Uncle Floyd, he died. He was like a combination of all of like the comedians of like the 60s and 70s. He was the show, like he was like Soupy Sales, Don Rickles. It was like he had a little bit of everything. He was from like the old school of like vaudeville, being always on the shows doing it. He actually said he never wanted to be famous, so he never was in any movies. He refused to do them. He was asked many times. He had a lot of famous people actually appear on his show, and they did it for free. They would come on, and he was on the old UHF channels. He wasn't even on like public broadcasting. He was on one of those. This is before cable. He was actually on one of like when you were turning the channel. Like I think we had like channel U. It was like 246, 247, channel 9, 11, 13. And then there was like a miscellaneous channel. It was like almost public access, and it was great. And he had the Uncle Floyd show ran from 1974 to 1995, and I remember it as a kid, always watching it. It was great. And the funny part was, he also had a lot of adult humor in it that went right over my head all the time. I don't know, and I was actually trying to find out if other Uncle Floyd fans out there ever saw his adult comedy. Kind of like Bob Saget, like Bob Saget before he died, he was like the nice guy on Full House, and you never thought he was. And then when he was live, he did all like blue jokes, cursing. I don't know if that was true with Uncle Floyd. I think he might have been, but he'd be the guy who would like go and sing and dance and play the piano all the time for like the firehouses. And his show was a lot of slapstick. I don't even know if they ever rehearsed. I mean, it was just downright silly. I mean, yeah, Looney skipped Rooney and Netto, and then he was famous for all of his puppets. He had puppets that like he's doing a very bad voice impersonation of them, but I mean, Oogie was his was like a clown that he had, and he did all of these ridiculously dumb, funny characters. That I mean, it was everything. He had Eddie Slabo was my favorite. There was like the Eddie Slabo way to eat pizza, the Eddie Slabo way to eat jelly. And he would just do things with pizza. Like I'll just have a pizza sandwich where he would actually take two slices of pizza, slap it together, put some bacon in the middle of the pizza, and eat it. Then he would have the Eddie Slabo way to eat jelly, where he would actually take like strawberry jelly and push it through a vent and be like, "Hey, look, it's the blob." I mean, just dumb funny. If you ever get a chance to watch some of the things on YouTube about him, uh, Uncle Floyd, he definitely will be missed. The guy, his real name, by the way, was Florio Vivino. That's an Italian name for you. But he was, as a kid, loved that show. Absolutely loved. While everyone else was watching Sesame Street, I was watching Uncle Floyd. So a lot of stuff going on in the news, but I wanted to share that. And I do have my movie review later, which I actually might have to change the setting. Usually I put a non-offensive language on here, but I may have to just for that. So we have a big, huge stack of the Epstein files came out, the biggest yet. And you know what? Now that they said no one's going to be prosecuted or anything else, it doesn't matter. I mean, they could have every single piece of paper, every post-it, everything released, and they're still, I guarantee that Donald Trump will be impeached over the Epstein files. Just because they don't have to prove anything. I mean, it's just the thought that he was on the island, as Trevor Noah was joking about, and Donald Trump's going to sue him. But I mean, like, they all believe that he did something, and they can't believe that he doesn't have any evidence against Donald Trump. There's got to be something there. Well, anyway, Epstein files. And Bill Clinton and Hillary, will they actually have to go to jail? This is interesting. The Democrats are actually going to put themselves in, they have to vote for him to be guilty. They have to, because they would be the biggest hypocrites of all time. You know, that no one is above the law. No one's above the law. They would be the biggest hypocrites if they vote against it, sending charges over to the DOJ. So that's going to be interesting. That's, I think, later this week, if that happens. Who knew? You know, the lock her up crowd would get them for doing something on their own making. Contempt of Congress. It's just silly. It's silly. But then we have Don Lemon. Okay, all of these people who are like, it's a First Amendment issue. I actually have questions. Number one, what gives you the right to say that you're the press? Like, if you're a doctor, you actually have a degree saying that you literally went to college and you studied. And if you're a lawyer, you actually have a degree. You actually have to pass the bar. And like, what? Now, by the way, this isn't just for Don Lemon. There's, people on the right as well. I'm not saying that this is what is the right of freedom of the press? What makes a person press? Like, I remember watching shows and movies where they would say, I have my press credentials. Well, what does that mean? For example, like, could I be in the press? Am I press? If I wanted to? I mean, should I get a bunch of ultra conservatives and go walk into a mosque and that is, hosting illegals in Minnesota? Can I do that? And just start watch them make a lot of noise, and I interview people to see how they feel. Can I do that? Hell no. By the way, I wouldn't want to either. But like, I mean, just do it in reverse. Same exact scenario, but just change the people. Same church, and then have me go in there, making a lot of noise, or anyone else, any other like former quote unquote journalist. Like, what is a journalist? Just someone who reports the news or makes the news. I don't understand it. But anyway, Don Lemon, he was arrested and he's fighting for it. Now, from what I heard the latest, I mean, besides all of the charges, that it's actually kind of simple. One person's First Amendment right cannot infringe on another person's First Amendment right. So he was with this group, possibly with the organ, knew everything about it, as seen in his live stream, follows them into a church. By the way, the priest or pastor who was actually giving the sermon was not the target. They actually was another pastor who was actually supposed to be there, and he wasn't there. So they come in, they're yelling, they're screaming. Now, there's been enough crazy people out there, people shootings and all this other stuff, enough crazies that honestly, it's amazing that there wasn't any violence. I mean, remember back on after Christmas, I was ready to walk out of my church. Can you, if someone did that, I would have gotten up and I would have, my brother probably would have had to hold me back, but I probably would start swinging. And I'm an old man and fat, and it probably would, after 3 punches, I would have been exhausted. I'd be like, okay, hold on. Can you stay there for, I probably would have had a heart attack. It would have been ugly, but I mean, like, I'm surprised there weren't any violence. Parents protecting their kids. I mean, the nursery school was down in the basement, and the protesters wouldn't let the parents go to the basement to get their kids. They stood in their way. They didn't like grab them or anything, but they got in their way. Now, that's really stupid and dangerous. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, we have the guy who gets shot and killed. Okay, I'm not going to go there. I don't know the whole story, so I'm not going to put any judgment on that yet. And if it was a mistake, then it was a very bad mistake. But if there was, I haven't seen any actual body cam footage, so I don't know anything about it yet. But anyway, like, just everyone was like, oh, he had the right to carry a gun, and he had the right. Yeah, he did. But what if someone in that church carried a gun and a whole bunch of people storm in and they feared for their kids' safety? I mean, Don Lemon could have gotten shot himself. So he put himself in that situation. Hopefully he goes to jail for a while. And it's just really bad. By the way, and also in freedom of speech in New York City. New York City, the Mandani administration wants to actually cancel freedom of speech. The taxi cabs, the yellow cabs, have a contract with Newsmax that Newsmax actually can be on in the back of their cab. Mandani wants to get rid of that. But isn't that going against freedom of speech? Because he doesn't like this speech? So it's okay if Don Lemon has freedom of speech, but it only goes one way. I find that very, very interesting. But one of the other things I was actually really want to go over is I'm listening. Oh shoot, I forgot her last name. Stacy. She's on in the afternoon on Patriot Channel. It's not Stacy on the right. They have two Stacys, both black conservatives, and they're awesome. I actually listen to both. I don't know, and I don't always agree with them. I don't know if it's Stacey Washington or, darn, I apologize. I should know this. But anyway, they had on this woman, and they were talking about the protesters and how the Republicans are losing this battle. We don't really notice it as much, but they have a professional, I'm not going to say an army, a group on the left, not the middle, but on the left, they're professional agitators. They're the ones who go to the riots. They're the ones who burn down the buildings. And it's working. The Republicans are scared of them. They're scared because they don't want to lose their jobs. They don't want to offend. They don't want to be mean. ICE is doing their job. They really are. And if these protesters weren't there, we wouldn't even know they were around. There are more ICE officers in Texas. There's no problem down there. There's no riots. There's no protests. It's working. But Minnesota is a sanctuary, and so sanctuary state. Many other states are now sanctuary states. The wonderful state of Virginia is now a sanctuary state, which is awful. And we're dealing with a situation where they want ICE out. But why do they want ICE out? Could it be they're losing their voting block? Illegals are making up a huge voting, and I'll talk about that momentarily. But anyway, Stacey had this guest on that was talking about May Day, May 1st of 2026. There's going to be a planned walkout by many unions. And the planned walkout is just a test run to see the reaction on the right, to see the reaction of the American people. Will Americans do anything, basically? And if it goes smoothly and Americans don't do anything about it and they just let the unions walk out and do whatever they want and it slows the economy, nothing happens to them. The same woman is reporting, and I'm not going to give her name yet. I'm not going to go into the name, but they said in 2028 in May Day, they want a full, all unions stopping work on May 1st, where they will not go back to work. All unions, they want to shut down America. That's their goal. So they want to test it in 2026. Not sure why they're not going to do it on 27, but they want to. Now, honestly, the average American has had enough, but is not willing to do anything about it. I mean, seriously, we really don't. If you're just minding your own business, that's what you hope everyone else does. But COVID taught us a lot. We gave up everything. We gave up all of our rights and we did nothing. I did nothing. I was told you either take this injection or you lose your job. And I cowered like almost everyone else and did it. I wish I didn't. But at the same time, they shut down churches. The government, shut down everything. Do we really want those same people in control again? And we're not fighting back? And I don't mean like fighting, like physically, like getting... There is no Republicans out there protesting. Because the last time Republicans went, I don't want to say Republicans, conservatives protested, well, they were all arrested. They were thrown in jail for years on January 6th. Even though we now found out, once again, years later, that there was over 100 FBI people in there, and it wasn't as crazy. It wasn't bad. I mean, there was some damage, but it wasn't a riot where they're lighting things on fire and destroying things. No, that didn't happen, but you would think it did. I mean, if you watch the January 6th riot with the volume off, it's just a protest. When you see the people just walking through the halls, just walking. Now, yes, there was damage done. Yes, I'm not saying then those people should have been arrested, but they literally ran the cell phones of everyone. Why didn't they do that during George Floyd? Everyone who was in Minnesota and all those riots that were happening all over the country, why aren't all the cell phone towers pinging all those people? Nope. And it was fascinating, and no one actually, it was called an insurrection. Not a single person was charged for an insurrection. Not a single one. Including Trump. Nothing. No one had a gun. Ashley Babbitt was killed by a police officer. He got promoted. But of all the protesters, none of them had guns. Interesting. Why? Because they knew you don't bring a gun to a protest. Dumbasses. You can, but I wouldn't. Plus, you're also going on federal property. Not very smart. Anyway, yeah, it's just really bad. We just need to really think and watch what's going on. And what are we willing to do? I personally, I'm thinking about it. I am going to probably work in the next election. Not in Virginia, what the heck am I going to do? I'll be the token conservative guy. And notice how I don't say Republican. I say conservative. I'll be the token. I'll be like, hey, how you doing? And, I'll sit there and see the guy running and get 10% of the vote and go, how? Why? Where are the conservatives? I mean, we just let Virginia go to waste. It's it's awful. It's awful. It's awful. But yet, at my fun job, I always have to bring up the fun job. My fun job, I'm all of these people are regretting their votes. I sit there and I kind of play this little game where I say the word we instead of you, meaning if I'm talking to a person and we're on the border of Fairfax County, and I'll say, hey, here's some, you saved $20. You could almost buy yourself a lunch for $20. Maybe not in Fairfax County. Uh, and you got to save that $20 for all the taxes we now have to pay. Man, we did not get what we voted for, did we? So now all these people are like, yeah, I cannot believe it. They ran as mod. So many people I am listening to are regretting they voted Democrat already. It's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and they don't know what things are doing. We are one of those awful areas that has the bag tax. Richmond is going to have a 10-cent bag tax. And in some states, they got rid of bags completely. Oh, that's such a good idea. We're going to get rid of all the bags. That'll save the environment. But yet everything's wrapped in plastic. I mean, seriously, dumbasses. And by the way, all of that money goes to a general slush fund. Yeah, great. That it's not being used to clean the Potomac River or anything like that. Now, see, I don't want to say I would get behind it, but at least I would be like, okay, all of this money goes directly to it. No, it just goes to a slush fund that is probably given to illegals or will be. Yeah, I have no proof of that, but it just sounded good. It has been tough. Now, here was, by the way, I had a weird thought. And I actually was having a conversation with another conservative, and I now believe that we have the two major parties, Democrats, Republicans. But I actually think within both, there's a grand total of actually 7 different groups. 3 on the left, 3 on the right, and 1 that goes both ways. I believe you have the extreme right wing, or the radical left. Then you have where I fit in, the conservative side. By the way, the difference between the conservative side and the extreme right wing, it's very simple. The extreme right wing actually blames a lot on Israel first. They believe in absolutely no government to a point. This is kind of where more of the libertarians work and live. They want pretty much everything free, but very small government, and just give us all the freedom we want. Then the conservative side are the people who believe in traditional values, believe in helping people, believe in doing the right thing as much as possible, but also much, much, much smaller government. We don't want the government to tell us what to do. If we fail, it's on us, but we want to help others to get them up and out as well. Then you have the moderate Republicans who are basically, in my opinion, kind of the wieners. They want to get along with everyone and do the right thing. Basically, they, in a negotiating scale between 0 and 10, where 10, you get exactly what you want, and 0, you get nothing. They start out as a 5, which is not good in negotiating when you start in the middle, because you can only negotiate down. And that's what seems to be what a lot of the moderate Republicans. On the left-hand side, there's the moderate Democrats. I believe they love America. They truly do. They are the old Democrats, the people who literally want the best for America, but they believe instead of the people helping, that it's government's job to help, but not take over, just to do it. Then, moving further on the left, is more of the social liberals. The social liberals, they don't really care about anything except social issues. They don't care about how it's run, how the government's run, or anything like that, as long as they get their freedoms to do what they want to do, and no one can tell them what to do. Kind of mostly younger people. Then you have your socialists / communists. That right now seems to be where the Democrat Party is. And they are the people who want total control. And how do you get total control? Well, you put measures in place that it can never be overridden. So like the state of California, Did you know that the state of California, even though they're losing population, actually had more registered voters in the last elections? Isn't that interesting? Because illegals can vote. You know, they're trying to, the Republicans are slow walking and doing a very bad job of it, literally trying to have legislation so that we can have voter ID mandatory. But the problem is, voter ID that you have to be a citizen. Well, when your state, like a lot of states, there's, I believe, 20 states that now automatically register you to vote when you get a new driver's license. So if your state lets you get a license and you're illegal, you then can vote. Pretty easy. Yeah, it's yeah. So that's how all these states are. It's just naturally, and then you control them. The seventh group, to me, is actually a very unique group. It's the ultra religious group that put their religion over everything else. Not that many of them, but those would be the people on the left-hand side. It would be more of some really pro-Jewish people, as well as the most of the Muslim community that put their religion first. I'm not saying that it's a whole group of people. I'm just saying it's the religious elites. On the right, it'd be the ultra-Christian groups that put their beliefs first. That their belief is more important than that. Now, that's why I said it goes both sides. You know, they don't care about certain issues. They only care about one or two issues, but they believe that their religious beliefs are priority to all others. And they'll vote either way. And it's sad. I mean, it just seems like that's what we're running into. So we have, in my opinion, these seven groups. Right now, it looks like the Republicans that are elected are more the moderates. The conservatives don't get voted in at all. And on the left, sadly, the moderate Democrats are not there anymore. But hopefully that'll change. All right, a little fun stuff. Did anyone see in the news, by the way, the kangaroo in Virginia? That was on Route 29 in Nelson County, Virginia. A kangaroo was on the loose. Okay, it was a pet. It was somebody's kangaroo. Number one, how do you own a kangaroo? And it got out and it was chased by dogs. By the way, it was snowing. Can kangaroos deal with ice? So the police had to actually help the kangaroo get back. They caught him, but a kangaroo loose in Virginia. Great. Which is actually kind of funny because I do like Carl Higbie on Newsmax. And he actually had a segment. He's a former Navy SEAL, and he actually would like to fight a kangaroo. Which, by the way, he's actually truthful. He's like, I would like to, because a kangaroo is a mean little bugger, and they're big and they're powerful. And he's like, I don't know if I could take a kangaroo, but I would like to see what would happen. So I thought that was actually funny. And then, like, literally the next day, there's a story of a kangaroo loose in Virginia. But so got a little review of a movie. By the way, I am done with Warehouse 13. I am amazed. That show actually got better to the very end. I could literally watch another, like, 4 more years of it. But that was a great show. Warehouse 13. Easy show. I mean, it's not, you don't have to be smart. It's silly. It's goofy. So now I'm starting Colony, that actually was around for 3 years. I love that show. And sadly, they had all of these stories written for a 4th and 5th season and just ended it. So it actually ends very poorly, but I'm rewatching that. But the movie I saw, are you ready? Scared Shitless. Yes, that's the title of the movie. Scared Shitless. It's a horror comedy, and I gotta admit, I laughed out loud 3 times. Like, you know, when you're watching a movie by yourself and stuff, you might just like smile. But I actually broke out and laughed like 3 times. It was a ridiculous ridiculously dumb, funny movie. The quality, I mean, typical, B movie, but it wasn't that bad. The acting actually was pretty good. But and there was one actor in it who I've seen in a lot of other movies. But literally, it's about two plumbers. One guy has a problem with it's a father and son combination, and the son actually has this whole problem with germs. He's like a germaphobe, and he freaks out about it, and he's trying to get over it. So he wants to be a plumber. And this guy in this building actually made this worm creature, and it was like supposed to be like this super weapon, and he didn't want the government to have it, so he brought it in, and it kills him and goes into the toilet system. And it's basically this whole thing about characters, like these two plumbers. By the way, this is not the Mario Brothers either. I mean, so there's all of these like this like worm snake thing is like killing people. It's like shooting out of their toilet and it's eating people, and it's a dumb, funny ass movie. It's on all of the movies I'm watching are on Amazon Prime, and I gotta admit, Scared Shitless. That was a good dumb movie to watch. If basically you're having a rough day, I recommend that one. I saw some other ones. I was watching another one, and I didn't know it was an actual Chinese movie, but it was actually a cool concept that I kind of seen bits and pieces where it actually starts after plants have taken over the world. And they're destroying cities. It's just a bizarre, and the poor human colony have to not colony, the humans around the world have to try to figure out a way to destroy these plants that are now carnivorous. They're I mean it's just one giant big plant, and it's destroying all these cities. And yeah, but it was actually Chinese. I was like, damn. And of course China had to be the heroes in it, you know. But yeah. But so that's what's going on in the world today. Feel free to reach out. I would like to hear from you. I apologize. I've been neglecting my email duties. I got too many email addresses. But I definitely will be emailing. I will be reading emails again. So feel free to reach out. Either Arden the crotchety old man at gmail.com, Arden the crotchety old man at gmail.com. And feel free. And thank you for listening. And I hopefully didn't scare you away. And for our people in Europe, yeah, you guys got to fix your problems because we're learning. Have a good one, everyone.